Welcome to this month's Market Trends Report. Hi, my name is Kevin Shoemaker with eXp Realty, and I'm excited to bring to you the numbers. I'm going to break down and talk a little bit about the national market, but also we're going to talk about the local market here in Northern Colorado and how the numbers are affecting you with your home value, or maybe you're thinking about currently buying a home as well. And is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, by the way, I want to point out a couple of different links in the description. You'll be able to see if you're curious about how the market is currently affected your home value. Make sure you check out our home evaluation link where you'll be able to click and get an updated value on what your home is worth. Additionally, if you're curious about what the different options are in today's market, I have a home search link as well, where you get a backstage pass right to our MLS, where you could take a look and see some of the different options that are available here in Northern Colorado. So with that said, let's just jump in and we're going to dive in and take a look at the information from a national level. The big buzz is mortgage rates. What's going on with mortgage rates? Obviously, with everything happening in the unsettled pieces of the economic world and the war going on in Iran, it definitely has had a short-term impact on rates. So we are definitely seeing some volatility where we were once right below 6%. We're now floating back and forth. So we're seeing somewhere between 6 to somewhere between 6.5. We do believe that that is going to start to come down, but short-term, there's going to be a lot of different volatility. What also means, though, is that with volatility creates opportunities. So with this volatility, it has also sort of created some flat spots in the marketplace. When you have flat spots in the marketplace, that creates pause. And when there's pause on buyer standpoint, when the buyers pause in the market for unmotivated buyers, that means that you have an extended time on the market as far as listings. When there's an extended time on the market, you have motivated sellers. Now, all of a sudden, you have sellers that are starting to do price reductions, and it creates opportunities. So for those of you that are looking to make a move, or you're an investor looking for an opportunity, there's definitely some opportunities in the marketplace. So we do anticipate that we'll see some improvement in the rates, as you can see, just looking at going all the way back to March of 2024. So looking at a screenshot of the last 2 years, you've seen how they did the dip down right to about 6, came back up, and then dropped back down again. So in just 1 year, when you look at the snapshot of the rates, January 13th of 2025, we were sitting at 7.26%, $500,000 loan, $3,400 a month PIT, principal and interest payment. Taking that same base as 500,000, fast forwarding to April of this year, 3144. That's a $270 a month savings. Now, as soon as we see that number drop and get below 6%, which we anticipate probably happening towards the end of the year, $419 savings a month. So again, if you're in the market, there's a lot of different opportunities to be able to buy your interest rate down. There's a lot of sellers, again, that are motivated. So we have an opportunity to do 3-1-2-1 buy downs and get some seller concessions to give you some relief and soften the month pain as well. So again, where there's volatility creates opportunities. When we look at listings, we're definitely starting to see an increase in our listing count. So here again, a screenshot from January 2023 all the way through 26. You're going to see you'll see the seasonality curve. And now all you see here at the end, you're going to start to see an increase in the amount of listing inventory. That's your typical spring inventory. Now, we're a little bit delayed this year because of all of the volatility in the marketplace, but we are definitely seeing a ramp up in our spring inventory. From a national level, we're seeing sellers jumping back in the market. So here in our western states, here in Colorado, we're seeing somewhere between a 2 to 3% increase with our inventory. When you go back to the Midwest and even the Northeast, definitely moving much slower. I would say a lot of that's been impacted by some of the storms. Obviously, the Northeast has had a very, very, very cold winter. So people are still trying to thaw out and get some normalcy there with the market. But with us here in the West and even in the South, we had a little bit more of a milder winter. So again, we're seeing a little bit of a kickstart when it comes to our inventory. Now, where are new listings coming from? When you look at from a national level, coast to coast, here in Colorado, we're seeing a 20% increase in our inventory, which again is probably a little bit above what our normal numbers are from new inventory. But for those that have been looking, have been watching the inventory, now what you're going to start to see is starting to see some of the more desirable homes hitting the market. You'll start to see more ideal locations, desirable locations, whether that's backing to green belts, backing to waterfront, those things. This time of year is when you're going to all start to see some of those desirable listings hit the market with a lot more opportunity and a lot more options. Now, one trend that we did see in fourth quarter of last year is people taking their homes off the market. So when you start to see a softening market and some uncertainty in the marketplace, we saw a lot of sellers that said, you know what, we're just going to sit back and wait for the market to sort of heal a little bit. So we did see a lot of sellers that decided to pull their home off the market and wait for a rebound. But now what we're seeing is now as we get into our spring market, as we go into second quarter of 2026, we're going to continue to see that upswing as far as listings and new inventory hit. Now, we do anticipate, and I'll share with you some of the local numbers, we do anticipate that our days on the market are still going to stay a little bit higher than what we've historically seen. But what that does do is that normalizes the market. So again, the prices aren't declining. What we're doing is we're seeing a flattening in the market, a flattening and more of a normalcy in the market, which we haven't had in the Northern Colorado area for quite a while. Now, when you look at the buyer activity, what it's doing on a national level, we're definitely seeing an increase. We're definitely seeing an increase and a surge in that. Now, that is sort of sporadic based upon some of the different economic news that's out there. But again, once again, we anticipate that when you look at those numbers, you're going to continue to see that upward spike continue to grow over the spring and the summer market. Now, are home prices crashing? No, they're not. What they're doing is they're flattening. Again, we're starting to see a lot more normalcy in the market. When you look at a lot of the new construction availability, we still have quite a bit of new construction available, but that inventory has been shrinking. And we're seeing over third and fourth quarter of last year, we're seeing fewer starts by a lot of the builders out there. So we anticipate that we're going to start to see a shrinking in our inventory a little bit with new construction and an increase in our resale inventory, which will normalize things out a little bit for us. Now, with the local market, let's dive into the numbers. When we look at the inventory of homes currently on the market right now, so we're going to be looking at the Fort Collins, Loveland, and the Greeley markets. So in Fort Collins, 633 homes that are currently on the market compared to the Loveland market, 691 and 642 in the Greeley market. So again, you can see the seasonality curves. You can see where it spiked in third to fourth quarter of 2025, and then drops typically because of that's just what we do over the holidays. And now we're starting to see that go up a little bit. So again, our inventory is definitely much higher than what it used to be, when you compare it to 2025 and 2024. But the reason it's higher is that we didn't have the high level of buyer consumption. So we had, I would say, a typical flow of new listings coming on, but we didn't have as many homes that were being sold. So we had a contrast in those numbers. Now, when we look at new listings, this is the amount of new listings for the month of March. 457 new listings in Fort Collins, 417 in the Loveland market, and 368 in Greeley. So again, continued upward tick as far as inventory, but again, it all flows with the seasonality curve. So typically hitting our peak volume in July as far as the amount of listings, and then dropping as far as new inventory by late fourth quarter, early first quarter. Currently under contract, 306 homes under contract in Fort Collins, 297 in Loveland, and 320 in the Greeley market. So again, you'll see the spike for the spring inventory, and then you'll see the trends with the seasonality curves. Closed sales, 241 for Fort Collins, 243 in Loveland, and 243 also in the Greeley market. So again, you'll see the spikes. But you'll see that our inventory year over year is actually, as far as under contracts or closed, is actually a little bit higher in the Greeley market and also in the Loveland market than what it has been over the last 2 years in the Fort Collins market. Our average days on the market is definitely going to be increasing. We're seeing average days on the market sitting at around 87 to 96. So 87 in Fort Collins, 86 in Loveland, and 96 average days on the market in the Greeley market. This is the month's supply of inventory. So we're sitting at about 2.6 in Fort Collins, 3.1 in Loveland, and 2.8 in Greeley. Now, the key to remember is a normalized market is sitting between 5 to 6 months. That's a normal market. Anything below that 5 month mark is considered a seller's market. The anything over that timeline, anything over sitting over that 5 6 month mark is a buyer's market. So historically, I'd say that we've been in a seller's market for the last several years, but we are definitely starting to push towards more of a buyer's market. Again, more selection, more negotiation. So the longer time on the market that you're going to see more the average days on market expands. You're going to start to see more motivated sellers that are going to be out there and start negotiating as well. When you look at the median sales price, we're looking at 539 in Fort Collins, 522 in Loveland, and 453 in the Greeley market. Now, when we talk about average percent of original list price versus sold, this is your negotiation number. So a lot of people are like, "Hey, Kevin, you're like, what are there deals out there right now? What are the sellers doing? What can I expect?" You're going to expect about 3%. That's what we're seeing on average. Now, usually within that first 30 days, seller has a lot of confidence in the price of where they position their home. We don't see a lot of negotiation, maybe a little bit between a half and 1%. But if they've been 30 to 45 days on the market and have not done a price reduction, obviously the market has spoke to them in volumes, if not their agent has, but it's probably time to make an adjustment, and that they're probably priced strong in the marketplace. So I would expect somewhere between a 2 to 3% gap as far as being able to negotiate with the sellers. So, with that said, we appreciate your business. We value the relationship. We're here for you to let you know how the market has impacted your value, what the market looks like going forward, so you can take ownership and keep control over your decisions when it comes to your real estate portfolio. So, if you'd like to learn more about what opportunities are available, again, make sure you click the link below. You'll be able to look at all of the homes for sale here in northern Colorado and in the Colorado Front Range, as well as if you want to see how the market has affected your home value, click the link below and you'll be able to check that out as well. As always, if there's anything we can do, my team can help you. You can always reach out. You can always hit me on my cell phone, 970-396-7248. Again, Kevin Shoemaker, your Northern Colorado real estate expert, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.